few times talk about the innocent ones as well. Yeah. That's a painful one that one has to live with, because some of them were good people and didn't deserve to die. But that was the only way we could prevent the thing from getting out of hand. Yeah.
Why did you execute Afrifa? He was retired. He was in his village. What did he do wrong?
It might interest you to know that Afrifa was being provocative, and I had him locked up. And he wasn't feeling too good. So I said they should send him to the hospital. And after he recovered, I remember very well, and the gentleman who was keeping an eye on him was called Dennis. He was also in Achimota School, 1 or 2 years, 2 years ahead of me. He was with intelligence machinery then, that he had recovered. He's okay now. What do we? I said, let him go home. And yet, later, had to be brought back. You see what I mean?
Why?
One evening, I don't know if it was the evening before the departures had to take place. I went
in the executions.
Correct. I went to see a respectable general of ours. In fact, someone who just missed, had a close, what you call it. He just escaped, being hurt, or also being killed on that June 4th day. A man whose life was saved because I held him in very high regard. So I went to show him the list. I was in a very heavy mood. I remember where he sat, and I sat on, what do they call it, a couch. Those leather things people rest their feet on.
Yes, yeah, the leather puff.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And looking away from him. And I'd given the list to him. And I was very, very heavy. I'm saying I couldn't hold back the tears because we had tried everything to prevent it. The executions of the commanders. And yeah, after about 2 minutes or so, I heard him behind me ask, and where's the rogue? Where's the rogue? The rogue's name is not on the list. So, this shocked me a little.
And did you know who he was talking about?
No. So I turned towards him, expecting him to say who he meant by that rogue. Because here you are, trying to prevent a situation with such a list. For him to be asking to an additional name, a name that was also not on the list, took me aback a little, But I turned towards him and looking towards him. And so I was looking at him like, whose name is it? Who's the person? When he said, Afrifa. General Afrifa. So I'm still looking at him. Like, he will have to say more. And what did he say? He said Afrifa had been advanced a good load of money to wage a campaign against Champong's union government. Yes, at that time, I mean, things were pretty hot. And instead of using that money for that purpose, the money, incidentally, as he said, came from an establishment within an organization in the West. I don't want to say the name now. And and instead of using that money to wage that campaign against the Champong, he used it, according to the general, to edge out, what's his name, Mr. Powilly, who I believe was the leader of the UNC at that time.
Correct.
He edged out Powilly and took over the leadership of that party. I cannot recall. I wasn't too much into the politics of those days, but that's what he said. Whether it happened or not, I don't know. Oh, well, in politics, I guess that could be sinful enough, I guess. So I kept quiet, collected the list, and went away and did what I had to do.
So did he add the name? Or did he ask you to then add the name?
It was obvious that his name would have to be added.
Okay.
Because we would have to make some serious sacrifices. And the guiltier you are, the easier it could be. And here you had a list of innocent good people as well who would have to die to save hundreds.
And this person was a general.
Sure.
Is he alive?
Yes. Yes.
Is he still your friend?
Oh, no. You must have, in a way I was a little naive also around that time. It wasn't until later that I saw through what he did. What he said could very well have been true. However, I think he wanted that man out of the way, Afrifa out of the way, because he felt, upstaged by General Afrifa by virtue of the 66 coup. Until then, he thought he was a rising star, the point man for Western intelligence organizations. And now, the 66 coup haven't happened. I guess he's the one they are dealing with, and not him, who he thought was more qualified.
So you took his word then?
Oh, I used to hold him in such high esteem. Some other interest. On one occasion, I was sitting with a major friend of mine when we were discussing the move that had to be made, especially the one pertaining to dropping the bomb on a Champong. And in my conversation with this major friend of mine, or was he a captain then? What did he say? No, I said, a Champong in a way had corrupted so many good officers and, pushed out some of the other good ones, the senior ones. So I was saying that this general, for instance, is one of the good ones who could be brought back if or when General Akufo takes over, to assist him, in terms of bringing on board efficient, disciplined people. He was one. And this captain friend of mine, it was in the evening in his corridor. What did he say? No, we don't need such holier-than-thou characters. This shocked me a little because he belonged to a certain tribe, just like he did, and I belonged to also another tribe. But he said, no, we don't need such holier-than-thou characters. And I'm saying that I was shocked because when again could you need holier than thou characters at this particular point in time when so much had been corrupted, personalities corrupted? And we know the climate it's created. There are not many left. And here's a very competent person you could bring on board. And you're telling me, holier than thou. I mean, who's compromised himself? To such a point that you find a holier than thou character, intimidating. What were you going to ask?
So I was going to ask whether this person, is it still the general or this is another person?
Oh, no. It's that same general.
Same general.
He's a survivor. He's a survivor. The number of attempts he made on my life, yeah, and a few things. Read my book when it comes out.
Okay, we're looking
Yeah,
forward to
I hope you'll be alive to read it. Oof. No, I'll stop here.
Okay. So if I can conclude on that, so if it wasn't for this general, Afrifa would not have been on the list.
No.
And so Afrifa's name on the list was not your preference.
No, I don't think. No, when we compiled the list, none of us had him in mind. I told you what had happened. It wasn't too well. I had him detained and sent to the hospital. When he recovered, I told Dennis to send him home. Afrifa was not part of it. But when you hold such a general in awe, you're just a young officer, thrust into a situation like this, and people have to go, and he tells you something like this, he would know. Yeah. And it's not illogical.
Right. Do you regret it?
No comments yet.
Is there anything in your 20 years in power that you would say?
So you're welcome to my channel. This issues of killing of the generals has been one of the most topical events in the history of Ghana, and it is very, very important that we discuss and talk about some of these things. And the reason why some of these things keep on reoccurring is that there hasn't been any findings into what really happened, with all these killings. But I've always maintained that Rawlings' killing of these, generals was inevitable, because if you look at the circumstances under which this event occurred, there was no way that Rawlings could have spared them or spared their life. And I have heard Rawlings on several occasions, even in this video, where he says that something was supposed to be done so that the situation could, calm down, so that there will be calm in the country. Because according to him, he believed that during those days, the masses were calling for blood, and so there was a need for him to do something. And if he had not killed them, according to him, he wouldn't have known what would have happened later on. And so I have always maintained that Rawlings killed these generals for his own personal safety, looking at the circumstances under which he found himself. Now, when you look at what happened in May, when he started his first attempt to overthrow the SMC2, and then he was arrested, kept in prison, sent to the tribunal court and waiting for his, sentence. And then, lo and behold, June 4th, he was released, or he was out of prison. And then June 4th, he came up with a successful uprising to topple the senior officers of the Supreme Military Council too. And so after being able to succeed in the coup against these senior military officials, there was no way that Rawlings could have stayed with these officials, a Champon, General Champon, General Kufu, and the other senior military officials. There was no way he could have coexisted with these generals, because those were dark ages, and if you leave these people there, either they kill you or you kill them. So I think sometimes he tries to justify the killing of these people as coming from the masses. The people were calling for blood, but really, to me, I feel that it was for his own safety. He did it to protect himself, because there was no way General Kufu and the Champon were going to sit there and you, a junior officer, take over government, and they will sit there and watch you. They may also, plan or plot to also overthrow you or even kill you eventually. And so Rawlings' killing of the generals was for his own safety. I mean, no two ways about that. But he just want to find ways and means to, try and justify. Another thing was that, you see, the presenter asked him that, why did you then go for Afrifa? Because Afrifa was, Afrifa had not been in power after 1972. Even 1969, they handed over to Leman, to Bougia. And so why then would you go for, such a man? And you can see that Afrifa, really had nothing to do with the coup or the so-called, corrupt people who had been in the system. And so I think that as a country, we should move past, should let this piece of information guide us into, our future, plans. And let's hope that such dark history will never repeat itself ever again. And so, may the souls of all those who lost their lives during the 1979 coup or executions, may all of them find peace in wherever that they are, and we wish them peaceful rest. So do not forget to share your view in the comment section, subscribe and like this channel.